Hey there, I'm Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. It's June and I'm not taking part in any readathons this month, so I've had to plan my very own TBR from my very own brain. I may have gone overboard, but essentially what I want to do this month is read all the books that I've been saying, oh, I want to read that book, or I want to read that book, or I've started but I haven't finished, and they're just sort of lingering on my currently reading list, and I really need to finish them. And also I'm going to read a bunch of other books that I just put on this list because I want to read them, and apparently I hate myself, so... Right, let's get straight into this. Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. I started this one the beginning of May, never finished it. I have about 17 hours left on the audiobook, so I really need to get this one finished. This is a sequel to Assassin's Apprentice, and I really don't know what's going to happen in this book. I just assume that Fitz is continuing his journey in being an assassin. Then I'm going to read Morning Glory Milking Farm by C.M. Nacosta. Now, the only reason I'm rereading this book is because it's a bit crazy, and I realised that it was free on Audible right now, and you know, I'm struggling with reading things with my eyes at the moment because I've been having a lot of migraines and dizziness, so I was like, this is just going to be fun. It's a very short audiobook, and I've got a lot of big books on this list, so I thought it would help me feel accomplished to have smaller ones on there, and that could be like a mental break for me. Not like a mental break, because I've been having a lot of those on my own, but, you know, a mental rest. If you don't know, this one is about a woman who gets a job working in a milking farm, but they're not milking cows, they're milking minotaurs because their milk is very good in pharmaceutical things, apparently. I'm also going to be reading The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. I really want to continue my reread of the Lord of the Rings series, and this is next up on the roster. I just feel like this is a very cozy fantasy for me, and I don't know, it just gives me really cozy vibes. So I'm planning to read this one and then rewatch the Two Towers extended edition, because I didn't end up doing that in my rewatch and I just really want to, so I'm gonna. Then I'm gonna be doing a buddy read with Abby from Abby Lucy the Book Lover. We're reading Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This is the sequel to First Wing, First Flame Wing? Fourth Wing! First Wing. This is the sequel to Fourth Wing, and it's huge. She's a beast. Great. I haven't had any spoilers for this book yet, which I'm really glad about, but I hear that there are many things that are very impactful in this book. I'm very excited to read it. Abby actually started reading this one in May, and I was supposed to join her, but I was just a bit rubbish at everything, so I'm going to be starting this one in June, and hopefully reading it and enjoying it. I really enjoyed the first one, so I'm hoping to sort of enjoy this one. Then let's talk about another buddy read. I'm doing this one with Emily from Novelle Novels, and it's The Mark of Athena, which is the third book in the Heroes of Olympus series, a Percy Jackson book. All of the people from the first two books are sort of reuniting in this one, and I remember this being the start of where I started loving this series. Like, this book, then the two that come after it were just so good, and I really can't wait to read this one. I feel like I'm not actually saying much about what these books are about, but a lot of them are like midway through a series, and I don't really want to spoil anything for anyone, so I'm just keeping it brief. And plus I don't know what a lot of them are about because I don't look. Next up we have a book that I really wanted to read last month and never got to, and that's The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. This is the sequel to The Stolen Heir, and I really need to read this. I reread the entirety of the Cruel Prince series and then read The Stolen Heir just in anticipation of this one coming out, and I just never read it. So I really can't even say what this one's about either, because it's a direct result of a sort of cliffhanger thing that happened at the end of the first book. I don't know, I'm just really intrigued to read it, and I really want to finish this series. Then next up, a book that I've been meaning to get to for ages, and it just hasn't fit into any of my readathons. I just haven't actually managed to pick it up. Waylander 2 by David Gemmell. So In the Realm of the Wolf is one of my favourite books that David Gemmell has written. I feel like I say that for every David Gemmell book that I read, but you know, it's true. I love this book, and I haven't reread it for ages, and I'm really excited to, but I'm also a little bit scared because I know this one made me cry, but they all make me cry, so I guess that's why I put it off a little bit. I'm going to be reading this one and reviewing it in June. I'm very excited. This is, again, a sequel to another David Gemmell book, so I don't really want to say anything about it to spoil anything. Sorry. This TBR is really uninformative, I'm sorry. Well, this serves me right for talking so long. My battery ran out. Let's get back to my horrendously long TBR. At the end of June, I still had about 200 pages left of this book, so I'm gonna finish it. It's Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. Again, the last book in a series, so I'm not gonna tell you about the plot, but, you know, whew, those last 200 pages are really gonna hurt me, so I've been putting it off, and I also kept getting migraines, so I didn't want to experience that while I was in pain. So I'm gonna pick this one up, I'm gonna finish it. It's gonna be great. So I was buddy reading the Throne of Glass series with a couple of friends, and they've already moved on to House of Earth and Blood, and I'm gonna reread this series despite only reading it for the first time in January. Now, it's gonna be really interesting though, because my thoughts on this series have drastically changed since I first read them. I was definitely wrapped up in the hype of the series coming out, and like, I was really invested in it. And after having sat with this for some time, I think my thoughts on the first book remain largely the same, but the second and third books, my thoughts have gone very downhill. I just don't like those books as much as I thought I did. So when I reread this series, I'm going to be really interested to see what I think of that, and then compare it to the reviews that I did of these books when I first read them, and I was really invested in the hype. So yeah, I'm going to be reading this giant chunk. Then I'm going to be picking up Vengeful by V. Schwab, most honestly because I'm starting to forget what happened in the first one. This book is about extraordinaries, who are people who have survived near-death experiences and sort of come out the other end with an ability that is extraordinary. There are a lot of not very nice abilities that people have, and a lot of not very nice people in this book with abilities. So I'm really excited to see what actually happens in this book, and I'm gonna pretend that it's a duology so that I can say that I finished a duology. I think the third book is coming out soon, but I'm gonna pretend it's not. I also really need to finish Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. I read 80 pages of this back in April, and then it didn't fit for any readathons last month, and I was like, I'll just put it on pause, and now it's time for me to press play again and actually read the rest of this book. So yeah, this one is about three sisters who are all sort of gonna fight it out to become the queen of this kingdom, and only one of them can survive. They're very different, and I don't really know much else about it than that. I'm gonna be reading Unseelie by Evelise Houseman. This is a book I didn't manage to get to last month, about twin sisters, one of whom is a changeling fae, and she's also autistic. I don't really know what this book is about, but I heard autistic fae, and I was drawn in completely, and I really want to read this one, so I'm gonna be picking this one up. I also plan to pick up It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I've never read a Tessa Bailey book, but I know Abby from Abby Lucy the Book Lover really raves about her, and I know that this one is kind of Alexis from Schitt's Creek's vibes, and I feel like this will balance out some of the heavier stuff, like the bigger books that I'm reading, so I'm excited to try this one. On another note, I'm also going to be reading The Roommate, and I don't know what this one's about. I'm guessing roommates, I'm guessing romance. Again, it was just one that's been on my TBR for ages. It's on my 24 to read in 2024 list. I don't know anything about it, but I'm gonna get it off of my audio TBR. It's gonna get gone, so I need to read this one, and I feel like this is a good time to put this into my TBR, she says, as she creates a giant TBR. Another book on this list is Twisted Game, which is a book I didn't get to in April. Who knows if I will. I have been a bit too dizzy and headachy to read actual things with my eyes recently, so who knows if this one will actually get read. And very similarly, Ensnared, which is a spider monster romance, which I've heard is a very good romance book. However, it is about a Spider-Man, but not Spider-Man, but a Spider-Man. So, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this, but I'm very intrigued, and I was like, it's on Kindle Unlimited, I can get it, I might read it this month, who knows? Also, I'd really love to read Godkiller by Hannah Kaner, because I didn't end up getting to it last month, and that's something I really wanted to read. Again, that's on my 24 to read in 2024. So yeah, those are all the books that I'm planning to read in June. This is what happens when I don't have a readathon to sort of like put me in line and keep me under control. I just end up causing trouble for myself. Apparently, I really hate myself and am giving myself too many options. I guess I can say that this is like the mood reader heaven month. We'll see what I actually end up doing this month. I bet you I only read about 5 of these, and then something really random happens and I end up reading like a whole series of something else. So yeah, I don't really know what's gonna happen this month, but maybe I'll read these. I hope I do. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!